Hello and welcome to Forestedge for the first round of the 2020 Two Counties Kart Club Championship on March 1st, 2020. You join us on board for the second and final rolling lap for the final, led around by Anthony Cleal on pole ahead of Michael Bell. Defending Two Counties Kart Club champion Russell O'Neill lines up third ahead of David Good, with Paul Alexander and Paul Dybel on row 3 ahead of David Waldron, Nigel Vickery, Ron Schoen and the novice Mike Watts rounding out the top 10. Following on from that is Rob Mortimer, the second novice Jeff Webster in 12th, and Kevin O'Neill rounding out the 13 starters here for the final at Forestedge, the first round of the season. As you can see, the drivers in 2x2 formation, going to go round through the cut through, and Anthony Cleal's going to be eyes on with the starter. And away we go now. You can see Cleal gets off to a good start, so does O'Neill. And O'Neill ran the outside of Bell, so Cleal leads into turn 1 from Russell O'Neill, the number 5 Mike Bell in 3rd, and Paul Alexander up to 4th in the Mad Crop, the number 17 who we're on board with. On board now with Bell as they go through Johnny's, and Russell O'Neill gets a big exit from Johnny's. He goes down the inside of Anthony Cleal into Winger's Dip, and he's going to cover off the cut back up through Anson's. Russell O'Neill takes the lead as they head up to the bus stop for the first time. Anthony Cleal settling into second, but he's not going to let Russell O'Neill get away that easily. You can see up at midgets, that's O'Neill leading from Cleal, Bell, Alexander, Good, David Waldron with a good start. He's up into 6th place ahead of Paul Dybel. You can see Kevin O'Neill there on the attack of Rob Mortimer, but back on board with Bell as they go round through Tollies for the first time. O'Neill leading from Anthony Cleal, the number 1, the 12-time champion, bearing down on the reigning Two Counties champion as they cross the line. You can see there Cleal with a much wider entry. O'Neill still defending heavily as they go through Johnny's once again. Past the grandstand. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's David Waldron up into 5th ahead of David Good. And that's Nigel Vickery on the attack of Paul Alexander by the looks of it in there as well. Now on board with Bell up towards the bus stop once again. And look at that, Cleal and O'Neill both seem to be pulling away on the exit of the bus stop. That was up to midgets. Anthony Cleal right on the bumper of Russell O'Neill. It's Paul Alexander in a nice comfortable 4th position. And that's Kevin O'Neill looking at the inside of Mike Watts as they go through the second part of midgets, but to no avail. And around the final corner, once again, Russell O'Neill, new fastest lap from Anthony Cleal and Mike Bell, all within 3/4 of a second. And they've pulled out a bit of a gap to Paul Alexander, who now has David Waldron just a second behind him. And through once again, through Johnny's down towards Winger's Dip. You see Waldron closing in, then Good. That's Paul Dybel with Nigel Vickery right on his tail, and Rob Mortimer on the tail of Mike Watts. And there's Jeff Webster as well coming through, and back up into midgets again. The top 3 through the bus stop, and David Waldron with a huge launch over the curb in the background. You can tell he's really pushing to try and catch Paul Alexander. That's Nigel Vickery still having a look on the back of Paul Dybel. Mike Watts, that's Kevin O'Neill ahead of Rob Mortimer, ahead of Mike Watts. Now on board with Bell once again. Russell O'Neill across the line, once again a new fastest lap. Anthony Cleal only a 10th slower though, and less than half a second between the two leaders. They're starting to pull away now from Bell in 3rd. Meanwhile behind Bell, that's Paul Alexander with David Waldron right on his bumper. And then the 3-kart group, that's Good, Dybel and Vickery all in there together as well. Kevin O'Neill, Rob Mortimer both passing Mike Watts on that previous lap. You can see now the lead starting to stretch out. Russell O'Neill ahead of Anthony Cleal as we're on board with Paul Alexander, and he's running a wide entry, and that's David Waldron up the inside into midgets. David Waldron up into 4th place ahead of Paul Alexander, so Waldron really making hay while the sun is shining, but Alexander closes right up to the back of him on the run down to Tollies and across the line. David Waldron up to 4th, Paul Alexander down to 5th, but still plenty of time left to go in this race. In fact, we're not even at the halfway mark yet as Russell O'Neill breaks into the 44-second barrier. So he's starting to pull away in the lead. Meanwhile, the next group behind, Good, Dybel and Vickery closing up. Now we're on board with Alexander on the run up to the bus stop. See if David Waldron goes across the curbs like he did a previous lap. No, he doesn't. All flat, all good. David Waldron starting to pull away from Alexander, who's got a bit of a buffer himself. Back to David Good. There's Nigel Vickery, there's Ron Schoen, and Kevin O'Neill really reeling these guys in. In fact, Kevin O'Neill faster than everybody who isn't in the top 4 right now. So keep an eye out for Kevin O'Neill making a late race charge as across the line once again. Russell O'Neill and Anthony Cleal both below the previous fastest lap, so both drivers turning up the heat. Number 5, Michael Bell, seems to be unable to live with them, but he's got a big gap back to Waldron. There's Alexander. Good. Dybel and Vickery on his tail. Ron shown as well. And then Kevin O'Neill running over the exit curb. A very distinctive noise that exit curb has, as now Russell O'Neill up towards midgets once again. With Anthony Cleal still on his tail. If anything, that gap looks like it's come down a hair this lap. Through the shot, that's Paul Dybel and Nigel Vickery right behind him. Ron Schoen and Kevin O'Neill really closing in on them. Back on board with Russell O'Neill. He's gone through Parsons, now he's going around the Haynes loop. Clear track ahead of him, as you can see, and O'Neill on fresh tyres today, and you can hear not lifting through Johnny's. You can tell he's got real confidence in the grip of that kart. Down through Windsor's Dip and up through Anson's, and then up the hill towards the bus stop. Russell O'Neill definitely at 100% right now. Another new fastest lap came in last lap, 44.7, with only Anthony Cleal running in the 44s as well right behind him, as it seems like we've lost Rob Mortimer, as Mike Watts and Jeff Webster both have made up a place. There's Paul Alexander, David Good, Paul Dybel, Nigel Vickery, and that's Kevin O'Neill having a real look at Ron Schoen. These two battling over for 9th place on the track, but 2nd place in the Legends subclass. There's Mike Watts, the novice, still up and going. There's Russell O'Neill and Anthony Cleal. That gap does not look like a second, but Russell O'Neill seems to be pulling out about a 10th a lap at this rate. Cleal as well going with him. There's Bell in 3rd. There's Waldron. There's Paul Alexander, David Good, Paul Dybel. Nigel Vickery's lost a bit of time, and look at that, Kevin O'Neill looking all over the back of Ron Schoen as they go down into Windsor's Dip, up the hill towards the bus stop. Look back across, there's Mike Watson. That's Rob Mortimer, the white bumper there of the number 13 on the side of the track. So that's where he's gotten to. Unfortunate start to the year for Mortimer, it seems like. He had a chain come off in one of the heats, potentially a lingering issue. But back to the racings, you can see there David Good is really reeled in on Paul Alexander, and he's taken Paul Dybel with him. That 3-kart battle's about to be for 5th place, and then behind them there's another 3-kart battle as Ron Schoen and Kevin O'Neill are taking chunks out of Nigel Vickery. So here we go again on the run down to Windsor's Dip. Alexander leading this group from Good and Paul Dybel right on his tail. Kevin O'Neill as well looking all over the back of Ron Schoen once again on the way up to the bus stop. Is Dybel, Good and Alexander, Vickery. And then Schoen and Kevin O'Neill, he's quick through the bus stop, he's looking up the inside towards midgets, but gonna bail out of that move. Meanwhile, we're on board with the leader, Russell O'Neill, that's Jeff Webster going a lap down. Russell O'Neill there through Johnny's, and now Anthony Cleal has a back marker to negotiate, and Cleal makes short work round the outside on the way down to Windsor's Dip. That's not going to have really affected either of them. There's Bell in 3rd. And through the chicane, O'Neill, Cleal. You can see the speed difference between the top two and the back marker. There's Bell in 3rd. Waldron going in hard, and look at this, that's Paul Dybel up the inside of David Good, but not going to happen this lap. Once again, Kevin O'Neill as well backing out of a move against Ron Schoen, as they're going to run up towards midgets. And now we jump on board with Paul Alexander. You can see ahead of us that looks like David Waldron, so Alexander not really dropping off all that much. Through Tollies once again, going to run a little bit wide though, and across the line to start another lap. Now into the Haynes loop, and Alexander's going to go in. Oh, and he's got his turn in a bit wrong, runs very wide, nearly going down the pit lane, does Paul Alexander. He's got to be careful not to do that too many times, as he's got himself David Good and Paul Dybel for company, and one mistake will see both of them pounce. There's Vickery, Schoen and O'Neill, those three closing up again. Now back into the bus stop, Alexander, Good, Dybel, 1, 2, 3, and Good's got the exit, he's looking to the inside. Gonna back out of it though. Kevin O'Neill as well with Ron Schoen, and look at the sky up there. Heavy hailstorms on the Saturday for this race. Could they be coming back? Hopefully they hold off towards the end of the race, because we're on the final lap. Russell O'Neill half a lap away. Meanwhile, Paul Alexander making the same mistake going through Haynes Loop. He needs to keep his lines clean for this final lap if he's going to hold on to 5th place. So they go down towards Windsor's Dip. Through the chicane, there's Bell. There's Mike Watts going around to start the final lap. And keep an eye out, just coming in on left of shot. There he is, round the final corner. Russell O'Neill takes the win for the first round of the Formula Blues in 2020. 1.7 seconds clear of Anthony Cleal, but there's still racing going on as Ron Schoen's right on the back of Nigel Vickery as they're on the run down to climb it. Ron Schoen thinking about going to the inside. Can he make anything happen going through Tolley's the final corner? No, he can't. Vickery's going to hold off this train. Nigel Vickery 8th ahead of Schoen, ahead of Kevin O'Neill. And then the full rundown will come up any second now. But Russell O'Neill, you can see in Parc Ferme, just ahead of us, the white helmet. You can see head in his hands. You can tell it means a lot to him. The first win he's had in 11 years in a final. And he beats the 12-time national champion Anthony Cleal to get it. You can see Cleal already going over to congratulate Russell O'Neill. Good camaraderie between this grid off track, fierce rivals on track. And here you can see the official results. Russell O'Neill took the win ahead of Anthony Cleal, with Mike Bell in third ahead of David Waldron. Paul Alexander managed to hold off David Good by only 0.3 of a second, and a further 0.4 back to Paul Dybel. So that 5th, 6th, 7th group right on top of each other. Nigel Vickery held on for 8th ahead of Ron Schoen. Kevin O'Neill in 10th. Mike Watts, the top novice, in 11th ahead of Jeff Webster. And an unfortunate start to the year with a retirement for Rob Mortimer. We saw him behind the wall down towards Winger's Dip. So he's going to have to try and go back, figure out what's up with that car, and head back out on track next week at Clay Pigeon for the first round of the Blue Challenge. Meanwhile, you can see there O'Neill going through scrutineering, and you can see the rest of the field. And here you can see what it's done to the championship standings. With a pole to second, Anthony Cleal takes the early season lead, 1 point ahead of Russell O'Neill, with Mike Bell in third. Paul Alexander and David Good even on fourth right now, ahead of David Waldron, with Paul Dybel 7th ahead of Nigel Vickery. Ron Schoen, Mike Watts rounding out the top 10 ahead of Kevin O'Neill, with Rob Mortimer and Jeff Webster equal 12th after the first round. Additionally to that, there are the subclasses, with Anthony Cleal and Russ O'Neill taking the joint lead of the Masters. Cleal is going to himself be leading the Veterans, and the Legends Championship is going to be led at the moment by David Good, with Ron Schoen and Kevin O'Neill following on behind them. Quick turnaround for the Formula Blues as they're going to be straight back out. The year starting with a double header, as they're going to be out at Clay Pigeon in 1 week from today. So we'll see how the first round of the NKRA and Blue Challenge kicks off. We'll see you next time.
You deserve that.
I was keeping an eye on.
Gave you a run for your money, didn't he?
I was keeping an eye on on mistakes because I know what you boys are like. Any tips I know. Every time I hit a curve, I call you.
Oh, Russell, you did so well.
11 years.
Well done. Honestly.